I don't know anything about pigeons, but 2 pigeons showed up 2 years ago in the cow barn, and now we have David said there's 17 now, making a really big mess over there. They're blue. I don't know if that
They're on
matters.
your place and they're like,
Heck yeah.
this lady feeds every day. There's no cleanup day here. If we
Yep.
hang out and don't get in a whole lot of trouble, she'll let us stay.
Yeah. When they start covering the entire house, then we'll have to eradicate some pigeons.
Have to cull some.
I have to call some, yeah, we'll have squab for dinner. Isn't that what pigeon is?
Welcome to the Poultry Nerds Podcast, where breeders, backyard keepers, and hatch fanatics come together to talk everything poultry. Subscribe and follow so you never miss an episode. Now, here are your hosts, Jennifer Bryant and Carrie Blackman.
Jennifer, this listener question thing is taking off.
It has. We do get a lot of questions. I don't think people realize how many we get.
We've been getting more and more since we started answering one of them at the beginning of a podcast. So today we're gonna have to do a whole podcast on listener questions just so we don't get really far behind.
We also do emails to assess feed tags. Did you get the email I sent you yesterday? I
Yes.
forwarded it to you so you can answer him. So on the website, we have a page just for feed tags, and you can send them to Carrie, and he will give you his opinion of them.
And I'll be honest, because sometimes people send them to me and the feed is atrocious. And sometimes it just needs a little something. Every once in a while, I get feed and I'm like, "Well, you might could improve on that a tad, but it's really pretty decent like it is." So, and that makes me feel good when I see those, especially when I see them that are submitted from other countries and things like that, because there's a lot of people that I have come in contact with in other countries. And man, you think it's hard to find good feed around here.
It's
Mm.
important to include what you're feeding too, though.
Yes, I do need to know that.
Yeah. And I don't answer them. I defer to him for all of those questions. He made a post, a weekly post, and I did not realize you did this, but an automatic weekly post in the Incubation Masterclass Facebook group that says, "Here, ask Jennifer all your questions." And this week's got 36 questions.
You know what? Sometimes you put me out there, so
You did
joke's
this.
on you.
Oh. All right. Now there's 2 resources if you guys need more information. But today's podcast is more like a hodgepodge. The only theme
We
is
got quite a
listener
few
question.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just pulled some that I thought might resonate with more than one person, actually.
Now, I really think that a lot of the questions do resonate with more people because being in the classroom, I have students that don't want to ask questions because they don't want other people to make some sideways comment. And let's be honest, posting some crap in a Facebook group is about saying it in front of a bunch of high school kids.
I can
Because
see that.
some folks, you could ask a question and people will chastise you like you're an idiot. You don't know if you never asked a question and get an honest answer, you never know. So we encourage them however we get them,
Yeah.
whether it's in the group, via email, whatever. We like it.
Messenger, carrier pigeon. Did y'all know that I have carrier pigeons or just pigeon? I don't know if they're carrier pigeons. I don't know anything about pigeons, but 2 pigeons showed up 2 years ago in the cow barn, and now we have David said there's 17 now, making a really big mess over there.
Man, somebody probably had them that raced pigeons and they got lost on their way back.
They're blue. I
Or
don't know if that
they're on
matters.
your place and they're like,
Heck yeah.
this lady feeds every day. There's no cleanup day here. If we
Yep.
hang out and don't get in a whole lot of trouble, she'll let us stay.
Yeah. When they start covering the entire house, then we'll have to eradicate some pigeons.
Have to cull some.
I have to call some, yeah, we'll have squab for dinner. Isn't that what pigeon is, squab?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's squab. Okay, so question number 1 is yours, electrolytes.
Are they necessary for freshly hatched chicks? I hope not, because I don't do it. And I would even say that for shipped chicks, if it's a situation where those suckers was in a post office truck for 3.5, 4.5 days, then you're probably going to need to do everything you can to keep them alive for the first 24 hours. But you work out a lot better to make something up yourself than using what you get in a packet, because a lot of times those things that come in the packets have a whole lot of salt, essentially.
Aren't they just
And
salt and sugar?
most of them, literally, it's just that, which for a person, that might be a totally different story. It may work, but for a chick, you want them to drink water, but you don't want them to retain it like you
Mhm.
do water weight. So you can make one that very simple. Take a gallon of water, find you some apple cider vinegar, 2 ounces of that. If you can get your hold of some blackstrap molasses, an ounce of that, a little bit of ginger, teaspoon of that, just a teaspoon of salt, no more. Put all that in a gallon jug, shake it up really good, set it in the closet or the refrigerator at least overnight. Two days is way better because it will. Don't screw the lid on tight. Just kind of sit something over it or put saran wrap over the top, put a rubber band on it because it will start to ferment a little bit. But that makes a really good electrolyte mix. A lot of the really old timers called it Switchel, but that works really well and it's all natural.
So the blackstrap molasses is that just sugar for energy, or has it got other stuff?
So sugar for energy, it also helps it ferment because you do want it to start to ferment. And the smell that it puts off, between the smell of that, it tones down the bitterness of the vinegar and it makes them want to drink it. Like in the wintertime when you have some hot chocolate and you're really cold and you want it, you crave it, it'll do that. It'll make the chicks want it because chicks are, whether you're talking about chicken chicks or quail chicks, they're very curious, especially poults. And they'll do it just to smell it and see what it is.
Now you're talking about the blackstrap molasses, like on the roadside stand from the Amish or something, not the pasteurized stuff at the store.
But you're not going to get the same effects out of pasteurized stuff from the store. Now, will it provide the smell, the sweetness, and that sort of stuff? Yes. But it's not really going to assist the fermentation as much. But something's better than nothing.
Okay. And the apple cider vinegar, I started making my own last year or the year before, and I was really shocked at how easy it is. There is a recipe for it on my website.com, and I actually have some fermenting on my counter right now. You're supposed to put it in the dark, but the last time I put mine in the dark, I forgot about it for 4 months, and it kinda, like, went
Nice.
overkill. So this time, I put it on the counter and just wrapped a dish towel around it.
There you go. That'll make you think about it more in a
It
month and then maybe
Yeah,
not 4 months from now.
it's almost done.
But yes, it is easier to make. It's not rocket science, but I will say getting a one of those apple peelers that suction cups to your desk or your
Mhm.
table, and you can put an Amazon link to one of those on the page for this episode. But you just shove your apple on that and and then you slide the apple comes off like a big spring. So you can eat that and it's great. You can freeze dry it and it's great. And you can throw all your peels and a couple of chunks. Like I'll use the core that
Mhm.
nobody does jack with the core except for feed it to the goats. You throw it in that jar, make you some apple cider vinegar.
Mine are made with all the cores, and I gave the peels to the goats.
I
So
stuff all that in the jar.
oh, they just put so much crap on the apples, and so I just throw them out.
Look,
But
I'm bougie, okay? When I go to the Costco or the Sam's, I get the organic ones.
yeah, no, but they still put crap on them. Okay.
But it's literal crap. It's not something that's gonna kill me.
When I first got started back in chickens, what, 15 years ago now, I just put a little honey in ours chick water, just little sugar to put them on a sugar high basically and get them
Yeah.
active. But now you can just throw a couple quail chicks in there and they'll all turn into spazzes.
I've given them jitter juice, which is essentially that mix that I talked about earlier, concentrated, and it's if they're kinda acting sluggish, you give them that, and they're like, "Whoa, hey, this is nice," and they drink it like crazy, and then they get that sugar high, and it's, "Well, you gotta slow down, like, you're gonna run into the wall of the brooder and knock yourself unconscious or something."
I'll put a link to your jitter juice on the website. So in case y'all have missed it, we started putting we calling it a companion blog for lack of a better term on the website. So every Thursday you can go there, watch the video and read more information about what we talk about and with the links on there. So those are released on Thursdays. All right, next topic is dry hatching. It seems to be a difficult concept.
Well,
I have made pin posts about it in the Incubation Masterclass Facebook group. So dry hatching is really not the right term. It should be dry incubating. It literally means don't add water. It's dry.
and you know what? If you're in the South
It
where
works.
the humidity is high and your relative humidity inside the room is already in the 40s and your humidity inside your incubator is already in the 40s, then you don't need to add water. It's where it's supposed to be. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I've seen people in Colorado try it and get really mad because they had a really horrible hatch. And I'm like, your relative humidity is 15. What do you expect?
It can go low like that, but it won't necessarily be ideal. So the answer to dry hatching is no, it is not a fix all for everything. But if you are struggling with high humidity, it is okay to not add water and see what happens. So, your ideal starting point, nobody can tell you what the ideal humidity is in your incubator, in your house, in your city, in your state. I can tell you that a good starting point is around 40%, but it's up to you to weigh the eggs and find the point where you're losing between 11 and 13% weight in the from day 0 to lockdown day. That's your goal, somewhere between 11 and 13%. And that is how you fine tune humidity for your micro environment.
But I want to interject
Why?
because there's one thing that I have seen numerous people. I incubated these the way I always do, and they were all sterile. None of them were fertile. Tell me about your process. All right. I know the breeder. I know that's not their process. And I'll say, did those particular eggs come with any type of instructions? Oh, yeah, they came with a whole bunch of crap, but I didn't look at it. Folks, I want to tell you something. If you take your time and you pick out a breeder that has been breeding for more than 5 minutes and you like them, they have good results, they have good birds, and they send you a set of instructions that says, get your incubator here, put them in, wait till this day, change this, voila. If you don't do that and you have a bad hatch, it's your fault, not theirs. Because while we've got the incubation master class and we tell you best practices and we tell you things that work for us, like Jennifer was saying, different things are different. So if someone says, my eggs work best when you incubate at this temperature and this humidity level, and you hatch at this temperature and this humidity level. Unless you've been hatching that same thing for a hot minute, try their instructions.
Yeah. Because the age of the breeders makes a difference, the size of the eggs makes a difference, the breed makes a difference, the pigment on the eggs makes a difference, which we're going to talk about. That's another question. But for this one, dry hatching, yes, I totally agree. Follow the breeder's instructions over the halfway English instructions that came with the Chinese incubators. Was that the
Yeah.
nice way of saying
Now,
it?
look, if you want to not read instructions, period, don't read the ones for your incubator.
No.
Unless you're trying to figure out which button translates to English to change the settings.
Oh, just for a
'Cause
good laugh, maybe.
I've got some that the writing on was all in another language.
Alrighty, hatching upright. That would probably be the second most popular question nowadays. Must be coming from somewhere. I do not know where on the big old Facebook world.
You know what group it's coming from.
Okay.
And
Hatching.
it's that same group that everybody that has birds in their backyard goes to.
Oh my word. Okay. I'm booted from that group. I can't see it. Okay.
You know.
So hatching upright is a tool. To be a successful incubator, what's the word? Incubator?
No, incubator is what you put
Incubatee?
incubatees in. But that
Incubatist?
just sounds really whatever you put the eggs in.
How about incubatist? Okay. So hatching upright is a tool in your toolbox that you should use if they are shipped eggs, if they have displaced or saddled air cells, or you have struggled with high humidity. When an egg is in process, it is losing moisture. And if you have had your moisture level too high, it could not evaporate it off. And therefore, the chick could drown or be sticky.
Yep.
So hatching upright literally lets gravity do the work for you, brings the moisture to the pointy end where the feet should be, and keeps it away from the air cell. If it's a shipped egg with a saddled air cell or displaced air cell, it should be upright anyway. Now, this is all caveat assuming that you have incubated vertical. If you are trying to incubate a displaced or saddled air cell or any other strange anomaly, horizontally, you are going to have problems anyway. I highly encourage anybody shopping for an incubator to find one that holds it upright vertically, like a Matty Kupix or a Chick Cozy or a Hatch in Time or anything. I don't care what it is, anything that holds them upright, you're going to have a better hatch rate. Now, if it's a normal, got eggs out of your backyard or your neighbor's backyard, no issues, temperature and humidity's been on point, then lay those puppies on their sides and let them hatch.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be upright. Okay, the bloom. I don't know why this is a source of such controversy. So, an egg is an entire mechanism that you can either eat for breakfast or grow a chick out of. Every single thing that a chick needs to form and grow is inside this egg. And when I hand that to somebody, they trust that is going to happen because that's nature and that's how it was made. And then they want to scrub the first line of bacterial defense off of it. I don't.
Well, I got a weird one for you.
Okay.
I had somebody, number one, that I'd never talked to before, but I was familiar with their stuff. And they said that they wanted to get some eggs, but they wanted them washed.
Okay.
Do people ever ask you to wash them first?
No.
I thought that was odd. I said, my birds are on wire. You're not going to get eggs with poop on them or anything. And they specifically said they didn't want the bloom on it.
That's different.
And I was like, why
Oh,
didn't you wash it off?
I bet they probably didn't want the heavy bloom. Now, I shipped an order a couple weeks ago to a guy who specifically asked for shiny eggs without a heavy bloom. That is an inheritable trait, and that's not what he wanted. So,
But if, with it being an inheritable trait, would washing it off make a difference?
no, you're just opening up the pores for contamination. So the
That's what I
bloom
was thinking.
seals an egg has about 7,000 pores in it, and the bloom seals those up. So it's the first line of defense against bacteria. And then the shell is the hard surface. So think helmet for the egg contents. And then you have a membrane, and then you have another membrane, and then you have the albumin. And the pH of the albumin is the last line of defense against bacteria.
The
It is
pH of the
what?
the pH of the what?
Albumin, the white,
That word cracks me
the
up.
egg
Sorry.
white.
Yeah.
It is a proven fact that, like research paper proven, that if you wash eggs, you will allow bacteria to grow inside the eggs. Now,
So that's why if you wash your eggs, you got to put them in the refrigerator. If you don't wash your eggs, you can leave them sitting on
exactly,
the counter for a month and they'll be all right.
exactly. So, the thing that we see most often repeated on social media is hydrogen peroxide, and that there is some air quotes science backing that up. I am very familiar with the research paper that cites the hydrogen peroxide. First of all, what we can buy at the store is 3%. What they used was 5%. Second, they used clean eggs from clean nest boxes that were collected multiple times per day and set in sterile trays to go into clean incubators. No floor eggs were used and are ever used in incubators at hatcheries. And then they don't wash them, they fumigate them. It's literally in the title of the research paper that they fumigated them. So if you can kind of imagine when they set all these eggs into the plastic trays, they put them in a cold room, and then they have an aerosol machine that keeps the
I was
humidity
going to
up.
say, I think about a bug bomb when you say the
Exactly.
word fumigate. I'm like, okay, so we've got like a hydrogen peroxide 5%, or they may even use the 12% solution, and they lock the eggs in here in a sterile environment, and then they just fill it with vapor of peroxide to further the sterileness. But the problem with that, because I see people do that, they're like, "Oh, I swear by it, I get a better hatch and blah." But I've also seen their incubators, and they're not sterile.
And you have to understand two pieces of information I want to reiterate here. One is this is a very closed system with very precise mechanics. The rooms are cold, they're kept at a certain humidity, they have a down pressure on them, a negative pressure on them, and they're aerosoled. And then even the hallways of these hatcheries are kept at a certain temperature with a certain negative pressure in order to prevent condensation before they go. It's an entirely closed loop system.
It's like a clean room in a science lab.
Exactly. And so when when they did all of that, guess how much the hatch rate changed? Now,
Like 2%.
exactly 2%. And
Really?
we're talking, yes, and we're talking about over 500,000 eggs a week. Some of the big hatcheries are doing 1,000,000 eggs a week now. So 2% of that is what? 1,000
Well,
eggs,
shoot, I
maybe?
might break out my calculator for that one. It's late in the afternoon.
So if you want to do that at home, that's fine. But don't say it's science, because that is not what the science paper said.
No,
Just say, hey,
man,
you
it's
know
like
what?
10,000 eggs if you're doing 500,000 a day
Yeah, it's a week.
or a week.
But
whatever. It's nothing though.
My beef is not that you wash your eggs, that you spray your eggs. I don't really care what you do with your eggs, but don't say it's science because it's not. That's my beef. That's my soapbox for the day.
Yeah.
I don't wash eggs, by the way.
Nah.
Okay, moisture loss. So these heavy pigmented eggs, people talk about the Marin eggs, the blue egg, the heavy bloomed eggs. So side note, something you may not even know about me is I raised Marans for a while. This is actually my picture.
I do remember that.
Oh yeah.
But I'll say this, 4 years ago at the Ohio National, when Rip said, I'm fixing to go do some judging, I'll be back. I said, I thought you're a retired judge. You gonna walk around out there? He goes, I'm judging the eggs. I said, excuse me? He said, oh yeah, they have egg shows just like they have chicken shows.
I do.
I said, Rip. He said, follow me. And that's a thing.
Well, I know because I won.
Yeah, because you got that pretty little purple ribbon there.
I have a picture of it, but that's another story. Okay. So when people ask about Moran eggs, the gut reaction would be to raise the humidity to soften the eggshell and the pigment. That is actually opposite of what you should be doing because the idea behind the egg, if you remember, is to lose the moisture. And as you do that, everything becomes more brittle. Think old concrete. When it loses its moisture, it crumbles.
And
Or
you can really
drywall.
see that when you hatch quail in a tabletop, and like the top, like it just goes,
Yep.
and this little gremlin pops out.
So what happens here is that dark pigment can be so thick that it actually occludes the pores of the egg. And so what we want to do is dry it out more. So it's making it more brittle so the chicks can exit the egg easier.
Yeah,
If
because
that
a lot
makes
of them
sense.
they'll use their beak to chip at it, and that's where pipping comes from, air quotes.
Yep.
Is when they're pipping, that's their beak hitting the outer shell in the egg, and it's kind of funny if you get to see one and they pip and their beak comes out, and then you see their head and it's let me out. And I'm like, no, do it yourself. I don't want failure to thrive.
So just keep in mind that pigment can block some of the pores, which keeps the egg from losing moisture as quickly as it would with a generally white or beige egg. And so if you are going to handle these dark pigmented eggs as your line, it is very important that you weigh them and find the proper humidity for your line with your pigmentation. I can only tell you the science behind it, but this is another one of those things where breeders know their lines and you should listen to them when they send you eggs because they should know what is working. But again,
You like to
their
hope the test
environment
hatching.
is different than your environment.
Mhm.
Okay. So you need to understand the science behind it and apply that.
And what was that percentage of loss you said that you should
11
be
to
looking for?
13%.
11 to 13%.
Mhm.
So if you start off with a 100-gram egg and
Oof.
you calculate out the humidity level to where in 21 days it
Well,
weighs 18 days, it weighs 87 ounces or 88 ounces
grams.
grams.
You
When
got
you
some
get-
dinosaur egg.
I did see some emus the other day. Anyways, that's where your 11 to 13% comes from. And once you figure that out, then I would lock those numbers in because that's where you're going to get the best hatch rate out of your incubator and your house or wherever you have your incubator.
Let
And
me
it's fun-tuned.
asterisk that seasonally. You should always
Okay,
spot
well,
test
yes.
as the seasons change.
Because when the seasons change, the humidity outside changes, the relative humidity in your house changes, thus the relative humidity inside your incubator will change.
And it's not hard to weigh the eggs. I call it my little cocaine scale. I don't know. It's just a little thing. It comes with a weight.
Do you feel
$10.
like Pablo when you have that thing out? It's like,
No, I don't know who Pablo is. I've never seen cocaine. I just call it that because it's what I see in the movies when they're weighing stuff out. But
most of those movies are about Pablo Escobar.
oh, okay. No. Oh,
Yeah.
comes like they'll go up to 500 grams or something. Comes a little
Mhm.
weight where you can calibrate it. But I just write it right on the egg. Most of mine are in the 50s or
You mean your
60s.
Sharpie's not gonna bleed through and affect the check?
Good Lord. If it did, I wouldn't have any chickens because I Sharpie everything. Okay. Turning. It was late and I was trying to find a picture of something and I thought, you know what? Some of those cheap incubators, they do kind of look like this Ferris wheel.
You lay it down
Literally.
on its side, and it's like those things could be the little arms that roll them around. Yeah, I see that.
Okay, so turning for whatever reason, and I have a theory. Let's why people said don't turn shipped eggs for the first week. First of all, I want to smack that person, but second of all, I suspect that happened during the Nature Right 360 craze, where they said don't turn them because those things would vibrate the chicks to death, literally. So, yeah, don't turn them if you're using that. But what happens is first week is the most important week for turning. So, you definitely don't want to not turn. 'Cause what
Right.
happens is the yolk will float up and the blastoderm is on the top of the yolk and it floats up. It adheres to the membrane
And it never
and
goes anywhere else.
it sticks and it dies. That's why turning is so important.
Yeah. I'm all for letting eggs sit if they're shipped eggs for 12 hours, 24 tops. But
It's unnecessary.
it's yeah, because I have done it and I have not done it, and I still get a great hatch rate.
So if it's cold outside, if I ship eggs in January and they're cold, then they need to come up to room temperature before you put them in the incubator.
Oh,
But if
yeah,
I shipped
definitely.
eggs in June and the back of a mail truck could be 110 degrees, the incubation starts. You need to take the egg and put them in the incubator as soon as you get them. And so again, seasonally make your decision. Vertical again is best. Now, this is why, and all the people who say the hen leaves them horizontal, yes, they do.
They really do, but here's the thing, when you hen hatch, that is a totally different ballgame, and we've got a different podcast on that where we talk about hen hatches versus using an incubator, and I've had really good hatches with a broody hen when it's 40 degrees outside, but you stick that old NR360 out on the back porch when it's 40 degrees, I'd be amused if you had a good hatch rate.
The problem is obviously the lack of insulative qualities, but vibration. When the plastic on plastic gears turn and rolls the egg on a hard plastic surface, that is a vibration that doesn't happen in nature.
And I
When
get that, but I'll say this, I've got a dang brood 2 broody hens in the same brood pen, and at first, one was over in the far back right corner, and the other one was in the far back left corner, and then after about a week, them 2 heifers had combined their eggs together, and they were both sitting there, 2 besties hanging out at a coffee shop, but there's still gonna be a great hatch rate. It when we take control and try to be Mother Nature, all that crap is off. They're rolling them around on cypress mulch, probably over other chickens. They're
being
using their
mouse.
beak because they don't have soft hands. They're doing all that crap, and we can't it's not for us. When we take Mother Nature out of it, it's gotta be perfect.
So if you're shopping for an incubator, buy a vertical standing one and they want them to rock gently at 45 degrees. The timing doesn't matter. No less than every 2 hours, but you can't overturn. That is not possible. Okay. The mythical exploders. So Jason, one of our moderators in the Incubation Master, he's on the quest to find people who really do have exploders. And we are not saying that it possibly could not happen. But the myth of them existing commonly is not true. I would go out on a limb and say I've incubated hundreds of thousands of eggs at this point, maybe. And I've never had one.
Okay, so it's not mythical. Now, it's not an explosion like what you see here.
You like
Um,
my graphics
I
today?
do love the graphics, but I will say that if you have a large pen that you have a bunch of hens in, and some of those hens like to play hide and go seek with their eggs, and you happen to find one, say in July, that was previously covered up for God only knows how many days because you didn't hunt and choose and peck and play hide and go seek every day when you went out there to get eggs. You might have one that doesn't do this, but the egg leaks so bad that everything comes out of it and it makes your house smell like a sewage pump truck did that.
But it didn't explode. It just oozed, right?
I wasn't inside the incubator when it happened, but there was like brown and black crap all over, and it stunk so bad. My wife said, "You're getting a barn. That's going out of here." It smelled rough.
But you had an old egg.
Oh yeah, it was 100%. That's what it was.
Okay.
It wasn't like the mythical exploding egg that comes out of super chickens. Um,
So I've had oozers. I'm not going to say you can't have an exploder, but there has to be circumstances leading up to it that you could prevent. Oozers, ducks are famous for oozers because they bury their eggs.
yeah, if you have to play hide and go seek to find eggs, then your chances of what people call exploders is higher than having a clean environment and birds that are perfectly trained to use a nest box 110% of the time.
Yeah.
Good
So
luck
we're
with
back
that.
to clean nest boxes again.
Yeah.
And so if I collect eggs every day from my chickens, and if mine like to lay in the corners in the peat moss, they will not lay in the nest boxes. The big Orpingtons won't. And occasionally they will dig out in the corners and the eggs will kind of roll down in the corner of the building, right? And if I, for any reason, think that egg has been there longer than yesterday, I toss it at the fence post. There is no reason to try to save it. It is not worth the risk, in my opinion. So I will put the dirt back and look at it, and I know that what I've done and that eggs would be fresh tomorrow, basically. It is not
I
worth
ain't
it.
put that.
I will throw it at the fence post if it was a fresh egg that chickens eat the yolk and they're perfectly happy.
How many times have you launched an egg out into the field and it bounced?
A lot.
And that is crazy because you hear about so many people and their nightmares of getting cracked eggs in the mail, but I can launch mine across the field and they bounce.
I know. I like to hit the tree. Now, if you do walk into your house and you smell something, and you will know what that smell is once you smell it,
Mhm.
you have an oozer. And that looks like yellow foam, usually on the surface of the egg.
Yeah.
When you find that, take a grocery bag, a plastic grocery bag, and very gently pick it up and take it out.
Mhm. Stick your
Cement it.
hand through the bag,
Yes.
grab it with the bag, pull it back through, and tie that son of a gun up. before you move with it.
Or if you're like me, take it out very carefully, giggling the whole way, and launch it at a tree so you can smell it for 3 days. Now,
I mean,
sometimes they stick to the turners. In that case, you take all the eggs out, take the turner, the egg, everything outside. You'll have to break it and you'll have to wash
and
it.
you know what? That might be a situation where you want to get some of that vinegar in the spray bottle and spray the crap out of it. You might can get it to turn loose where you don't break it and smell it and think about throwing your whole turner away.
Yeah, you might just do that.
But other than that, don't use vinegar.
All right, so we're going to tell you about Incubation Masterclass. If you want to learn more about incubation and all the things that go with it and dialing in your process, you can use coupon code FB50 and that will get you 50% off. And you can
50%
also,
off.
yeah, I know.
We're
And you
giving
can,
them 50% off.
we are in this podcast, or
Makes
if
it
you were
cost
in the
like
Facebook
nothing.
group. I know. We're trying to help people do better, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
costs are on
I
a
forgot about
website.
that part. I forgot about that.
We do have to pay for the website. So you can also join the Facebook group and ask me all of your questions. Once a week, I pay attention and try to help everybody.
And when we're putting the Incubator Masterclass together, we really tried out some of the sketchiest things Amazon had to offer and tried some of the same tips and tricks that we've done with a lot of other stuff. And there's people out there that say you can't have a good hatch rate with a $20 incubator. If you take the Incubation Masterclass and you learn some of the tips and tricks, we can tell you how to do it.
Yep.
It
I
ain't
have successfully hatched in a tri-cottage. I have a YouTube video about it.
Oh, yeah. There's a method to it,
Yeah.
but you can either learn from us, do it a bunch of times on your own eggs. But please don't buy some expensive eggs and try it the first time. Don't want you to be disappointed. We love y'all too much.
If you like the show, hit subscribe.
Yeah. If you
sign up.
don't, Jennifer at poultrynerdsparkcast.com. Let her know.
Emails. We only send one email a week, and that is Thursdays, telling you about that day's podcast and the release with the links and everything that we talk about. And we release the show on YouTube on Sundays.
Yep. But if you want the Amazon links to the crap that we talk about and all that good stuff, you're going to have to check out that blog page on our website, poultrynerdspodcast.com.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Please like and subscribe for more episodes and visit poultrynerdspodcast.com for show notes and links.